What secret do you know that could destroy someone? I didn't think it was a big deal. But I saw my boss pick her nose and wipe it under her chair. I casually asked if she was saving it for later and she was mortified. A project I had been wanting to start was approved the next day. My aunt was 30 and married a guy who was 70. She wanted another baby but he had had a vasectomy years earlier. She ended up banging a 50-year-old repairman and getting knocked up. She told her husband it was a miracle and he bought it. A few years later her husband committed suicide and in his obituary it listed his adult kids and said he was the proud father of Miracle Baby. I can't believe she would stoop that low. His kids had to have known. She ended up living with the repairman for years but the kid didn't know that was his real dad. Even though they have the same name. Yes. My aunt even named the kid after the repairman. WTF? She thinks I don't know but I do. She told my mom and my mom told me. I'm pretty sure my cousin would be destroyed if he found out. He's an adult now so his whole life is a lie. Acquaintance intentionally screwed with his wife's birth control to get her pregnant. Because he figured the kid would keep her busy while he's sleeping around. Turns out he genuinely loves being a dad and said the kid is the best thing that has ever happened to him. His wife was sleeping around when he did it and there's a 50% chance the kid isn't his. She was texting when she crossed the intersection and hit the motorcyclist. This is why I have no remos or respect for people who text. Ducking edge. How she feel? My teenage crush took it really badly when I stopped being interested in him. And spent a while trying to sabotage everything I did. Including talking to teachers to try to shut down multiple student organizations I was in. It's been a long time but we're still not each other's #1 fans. I'm not going to say anything. But I'm pretty sure his very Christian fiancée who is waiting for marriage to have sex and thinks he is too wouldn't be too thrilled to know about the time when he spent a year hooking up with gay men who he met by posting big dick pics on 8chan. Might not destroy anyone. But still seems like a big secret. I know a couple who make comments about having a baby together. Mostly the guy saying stuff about it. She had her tubes tied or whatever years ago. My best friend has a secret daughter from a one-night stand. She's over 20 years old now. His family still has no idea. She tried a couple times to contact him but he told her to duck off. My best friend is a big dick. Hey. Must be coincidence. But my best friend is my big dick. Too. He uses our lobby computer to cheat on his wife online. I don't need to destroy him because he's getting fired for sexually harassing our boss. So that works out. Edit. Damn it guys, way to make a secret my top post. A girl I know got gangbanged by 3 of her cousins while all of them were wasted. AWW. What a close-knit family. Bob is married with 3 children. His oldest is in college. Bob and his wife have been married for 18 years. Bob is gay. Always has been. He wanted a family. He no longer wants to pretend to be straight but has no idea how to break the news to his family. Edit. This thread is full of supportive people. I understand Bob will break the news. It's a matter of when. He already told his parents a few years ago. I'm not Bob. When I read this AskReddit, this is the first thing I thought of. If I went out of my way to break this secret it could potentially destroy 5 someone's. I found my dad's adult friend finder, username and password. He's still married to my mom. My good friend Joshua told everyone he had a family problem and that's why he had to miss weeks of school. Turns out he was addicted to sniffing shampoo and his parents made him see a psychotherapist to see if he had any mental problems. The reason my dad wasn't there right away for my mom when her dad died was because he was with another woman. How did you find out? Well, I had suspected from the beginning because he wasn't picking up his phone. He was a valet at the time so it wasn't uncommon because sometimes he'd be running back from dropping off a car at the lot and wouldn't feel the call. So I called his work so they could tell him to check his phone but they said he wasn't working that day. curiosity got the best of me and I decided to check his phone the next day and saw a text message about meeting up with this woman he worked with at his other job. He was with her and told me and my mom he was working. My parents' marriage was falling apart at that point, but I love and respect both my parents too much to ever tell her I know. Even though they are divorced now. I know it would break her heart to find that out. Especially since that woman he was with is now my stepmom. An acquaintance of mine, semi-friend overlapping social circles, is a second-year university professor and is dating one of his freshman students. He's in his late 20s. Doesn't have tenure yet. And I couldn't care less about the morality of it, she's of age. But the conflict of interest thing is a real risk to his career. Friend of mine knocked up a one-night stand in college. We were all friends. And she decided not to tell him. Both are happily married with kids with their new spouses. Except one of her kids is my friend's, and not her husband's. For about a year nobody in my department was getting paid for exactly one lunch per week. See our students go out into the community once a week and on those days we were never given a lunch break. I didn't realize until the end of the year that our pay stubs did not reflect this extra hour of work. Full stop. Had my entire department in my school, not whole district, write out a full year's worth of vouchers and submit them to be paid. Roughly $400 person. It was denied, as I expected. But the next week the district started demanding we get scheduled lunches for that day each week. We never pursued anything after this point for some reason. Didn't want to be bothered. Anyway. Fast forward to the summer when I emailed HR about a completely unrelated issue. HR lady was a huge itch and in the email for some reason she dropped a nice piece of evidence against herself. You were specifically told not to voucher for unpaid lunch days throughout the year and were told. Stuff pertaining to the issue I emailed about. I don't really want to start sheet because even though I get paid crap for my job I do like the people I work with. I imagine if I put in a complaint with the state with that specific piece of evidence I could probably get her easily fired. Edit. It's amazing to me how many people are actually cursing me out and calling me completely shitty things for being a victim of bullshit. Good job. My buddy made out with another buddy's mom at a bonfire while the husband was out of town. This was a year after high school. Upper management doesn't know how incompetent my boss is. He delivers results only because all people in department is super ethical and work hard. He is a good guy but doesn't know anything about the job or how to be a good leader. But it's changing. We all are looking for jobs anywhere. Last week a maid left and if everything goes good today I will probably leave too. After 2 more resigns it will be hard to not notice. Friend from college. Hereafter dude had a girlfriend at another school. Dude regularly cheated on his girlfriend with a woman at our college. Hereafter woman. Woman's roommate was a good friend of mine. After one of these hookups woman got pregnant. Woman had an abortion. Never told dude. Dude is now married to his then girlfriend. Wife has no idea he regularly cheated on her. Dude has no idea woman got pregnant and had an abortion. Dude is now a lobbyist. Seems to want to have a political career. I have several racist sexist emails sent in the early 2000s by someone who is now a prominent media member in the US. This is so buried. Edit. So. Not buried after all. No. I'm not going to share them. Please stop sending me PMs people claiming to be from media organizations. My partner has been cheating on me for months with various women under the guise of work. He's a photographer. How did I find out? Because he posts the videos on his adult work profile, which I have recently gained access to. I have screenshots of thousands of pics and hundreds of videos of him making the beast with 2 backs with about 100 women, and a couple of TVs. I am planning on releasing this information to anyone who will listen. Especially his parents and the mother of his child. I work on construction projects internationally. Guys that work these types of jobs are known to be womanizers. However, there are plenty of men who carry the family man moniker. I know plenty of married men who bang prostitutes all year long. For example, Bahrain, and go home to their wives, who I know, several times a year and pretend like they're monogamous. Some of them have kids their other family doesn't know about. It's more common than you might think. While the 70 or 30-year-old husband is sticking his whiner in anything with a heartbeat, the wife is home running the household. I was diagnosed with transverse myelitis at age 12 and remain paralyzed all of these 31 years later. What I didn't tell the doctors, or anyone until I was 19, 2 new friends outside of my hometown, was that I was punched right square in the back on the spine where I'm paralyzed. I suspect it was some sort of bruise or blood clot that gave way. I started mentioning that I had been punched in the back at school to a sister and brother within the last 5 years. I will never give up the name, and worse yet, we're distantly related. But they went on to live a very full life full of love and fame and wealth. I'm rotting away, taking it to my grave. Better that one suffer than 2 of us. We were kids and I have long forgiven. But people need to be careful with heads and backs. Those precious brains and spinal cords cannot be regenerated. Yet. Anyway. I've never shown my mom the note my dad wrote when he attempted suicide. Or the letters he wrote her during his restraining order later. He was successful months after. Obsessed to the point of abuse, she wasn't in love with him. Just stayed with him until me and my brother, were old enough to understand why she was leaving him. These notes would crush her. They've crushed me for the last 12 years. Where I'm often dependent on Drew Gus to get by. It's easier to write this knowing the thread is old and no one will probably read this. My husband had an affair on me with a married older woman. I told her husband where and what time and the hotel room number so he could catch them in the act, and he went there, caught them having sex and blew his brains out in front of the 2 of them. I never told how he found out where they were at. Divorcing now. Husband and her are happy together. He's dead. I'm devastated because I thought her husband knowing would make them stop cheating. I was paid to read co-workers' emails, including HR, and report anything out of the ordinary to my manager on a weekly basis. This was during the height of a big poaching campaign from another company. They were actively recruiting our staff and offering loads of money to those who jumped ship. Okay, I thought. No big deal. Then I was told to create bogus social media accounts, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, to see who was connecting with who and if photos of drug use, etc. was being posted, to report my findings. Finally, I was asked to create fake profiles for online dating sites and report back when anyone in the company was found on there. When it came to our annual remuneration, I wrote exactly what I did, and within a week, they had a juicy severance package for me. When I pointed the finger at my bosses, they denied. HR asked that I sign a non-disclosure and they would throw in even more cash. I sensed this would happen from day one. So I backed up an external hard drive every month with every sensitive email I could find. I'm still sitting on them, and that company did a lot of illegal shit. My biodad, that I found out about 4 years ago, left me all his estate when he dies. My mom keeps the information in her jockey box and hasn't told me. I borrowed her car and found said documents. You need to steal said documents and leave her some photocopies. Steal. My bad, they're your documents. And you need to not be abducted with the money when you get it. Like buying a new car and paying your mother's bills and taking all of your friends to dinner the club. You could be rich till you're dead. Be ducking smart. My boss is a closet gambling addict. I don't think his soon-to-be ex-wife knows, not the reason for the divorce. He just told me today he has $8,000 on the NFL draft. God only knows how much he spends on his gambling, and I doubt she knows. One of my friends slept with my girlfriend while I was in training. He doesn't know I ever found out. He also doesn't know I banged his mom the week I got back. When my father died, his last words he ever said to me were expressing disappointment in my sister. She was due to visit the day he died, but instead decided to go out with her friends. Our father remarked that she probably wasn't coming because she didn't need anything and called her a selfish hunt. She knew he was very sick and could pass any day. He had terminal cancer. Yet still decided her friends were more important. 5 years later, I have never told her his true final words. Instead, I told her that his final words were about what he wanted for dinner. I've written papers for hundreds of college students. I've completed most of the work for several people's advanced degrees. I have all of their names and contact information. My former boss saved all of his accounts, including bank, retirement fund, and stock accounts, into a single, unencrypted, unpassword protected Word document and saved it to his network drive. He left the company a few months after I got hired, and I was tasked with cleaning up all his files off the network and came across his master password page. So if I wanted to, I could access pretty much everything from his power and water accounts to his bank and everything in between. My uncle raped my mom when she was younger. Her own brother. My mom confided this secret in me when I was really young myself. I haven't told a soul. That is awful. It's also shockingly common to have rape between siblings. I learned recently. Growing up, we knew a girl who I later found out was being raped by her older brother. Thing was, no one believed her at first. She had a reputation for being a bad kid. Got caught looking at porn and stuff. But then years later it turned out her dad had caught them in the act. And never did anything or told anyone. Except encourages his son to go to boarding school a few years later. My brother died about 2 years ago in a motorcycle accident. When he crashed his motorcycle, he called our stepmother, my mom's partner, before he called 911. She didn't pick it up for some reason. He died on the way to the hospital. She told me this months after he died that he had left a message on her VM. She never told my mom, and I don't blame her. Even though there's no way she could have known why he was calling. And there's nothing she could have done to save him if she had answered. I doubt my mom would ever forgive her for not answering that call. Co-worker's girlfriend lost the baby because of all the stress she's under, thinking he's cheating on her. He is cheating on her and the other girl is pregnant. That baby is due in September. My friend puts his online animation portfolio on his YouTube channel. Little does he know that his favorites is public and it's nothing but young Asian teen girls dancing in their undies. My brother's ex-GF asked to get back together with him after being broken up for a few months. A month later she announced she was pregnant. And my brother, they were both 19 at the time, was the father. None of my family believed her. Because her sonogram showed a bit more advanced pregnancy than a month. But my brother believed her. We tried to bring it up with him. But he wouldn't hear any suggestion this wasn't his kid. So we all decide to be supportive. Having no other grandkids at the time, my mom starts to get excited and buy baby things that the GF hangs on to while they are looking for an apartment together. Fast forward another month. And GF realizes that she's gonna get stuck with a baby she doesn't really want at 20. And so she tells my brother she's decided to get an abortion. My brother is devastated. And asks her to have a kid and sign over parental rights to him to take care of instead. She refuses and dumps him. So my family cuts ties and asks for the return of the baby things we bought them. Now this is the ducked up part. She refuses to return the stuff unless my brother pays for half the abortion fees. Then she goes out drinking with all her friends, telling them she had a miscarriage and that my brother dumped her because of it. Duck her. We told my brother to forget about the stuff and get the hell away from her. He finally did and is in a happy, stable relationship now. I would tell someone if I knew where she is now. I don't think anyone I know IRL will see this. Hopefully. My best friend. She killed herself. Self-inflicted gunshot after coming down from an extended drug binge. I always held strong to the belief that it was spur of the moment. She wasn't in her right frame of mind type of deal. A year before she killed herself. Though. She had asked me about a gun. If she could borrow one. She told me that she was home alone and some people tried to break in. I forgot about that little fact until a year or two after the fact. If her mom ever found out, I'm sure she would be crushed. It's a shitty ducking feeling. A woman my mom tried to help stole money from us. Stole all our birth certificates. Other identity theft style papers. My mother's original engagement and wedding ring and an heirloom ruby set pocket watch. She can't really move out of our area. My mom was kind beyond reason to her when I was only 7-9. I went to school with her kids. I am 24 and married. Because she can't really move away, I make a habit of figuring out where she works and talking to her employers. I disclose all her criminal history and have been the reason she has been fired from 4 different jobs. TLDR, Itch stole from my mom after she tried to help her feed her kids and improve her life. I spend my free time ruining her life because I'm a vindictive monster. Don't duck with my mom, Jenny. Edit, I'm that friend who is super loyal and honest and always has your back. I can forgive. I forgive people who show they have regret and do their best to make up for it. I hate liars. I hate thieves, and I hate people who leech off society and don't contribute in some way to make a net positive impact. I'm the guy who will put cellophane in your boss's gas tank and total their car because he groped you at work and will go years not telling you. I don't think of it as ruthlessness. I prefer pragmatism. I don't know if anyone would be destroyed. Found my grandparents on a swinger site my wife and I occasionally get hookups on. We've seen them a handful of times since no awkwardness. I predict 0 chance of them not seeing our profile. Nobody else in my family knows. And there's a good chance they would be weirded out if nothing else.